Hello friends, Paul Angelo here. We have a nice surprise today. We're gonna look at this. So check this out. This is a relationship calculator. This is going to help us. This will help you predict the future. Yes, we're gonna predict the future in terms of your possibility to create a healthy relationship. Sometimes when we talk in general terms about dating, about relationships, it's difficult to see. Are you going to succeed? Are you going to fail? What's happening? It's difficult to tell. But when we use the numbers, that's when you can see things very clearly. So in this short video, I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. We're going to predict your future. We're going to predict whether you will fall in love this year or next year or not. And we're going to do a calculation that takes into account 1 year of socializing. So we're going to ask the question, how many second dates you have in 1 year? How many men do you meet in 1 year? And so how many men, how many second dates, how many 6 dates? And that tells us whether you're connecting or not. Sometimes you might luck out and have a second date, but to have a 6th date, that's a totally different ballgame. And then how many hours of interactions on a deeper level, not texting on hookup apps, Grindr or Scruff or Growler or many others, Tinder, but how many authentic over the phone or in person deep conversations. How many hours of those conversations do you have? Because if you don't have those conversations, you are not going to be able to repair your attachment style. You're not going to be able to get enough practice so that you don't make mistakes. And I can assure you, if you don't have that practice, you will make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes and I have a lot of contacts, a lot of people I interact with all the time, and I still make mistakes despite that practice. So we need a lot of practice, a lot more than you think. So I hope that you are ready for this transformation. I just had a cake and I thought I had some of that cake left over in my mouth. So I wanted to wipe my mouth. So I hope that you are ready for this video because this is going to be really eye-opening. So let's look at this and we're going to compare your numbers to the numbers of the people from the people that are interacting in the Big Gay Family Social Program. So I am the creator of the Big Gay Family Social Program. If you're not a member, check it out. Visit the website biggayfamily.com. And in our program, you get 24 introductions a year, 2 introductions a month, so 24 a year. So this is the relationship calculator for 1 year. So I'm going to use this pencil to help you, to guide you through this board. So this is the relationship calculator per year. And in the black numbers are the numbers for members of the Big Gay Family Social Program. So they get 24 introductions per year. And on average, all of those interactions lead to second dates, all of them. We have a system called commitment-based dating system that ensures that people are actually getting to know each other. And we have a continuity principle. We have division of roles. We have a lot of technology, a lot of innovation that helps us ensure that this actually is happening. And this is actually, these numbers are numbers that are easy for math calculations. This is actually on the lower side. Most members have at least 180 hours of interactions per year, but I wanted to round this down to numbers that are easy to calculate. Okay, so let's do this. So 24 men per year. You have 100% second dates and you have about 90% 6th dates. Vast majority of the people continue through their 6th date. And then you have 120 hours of conversations per year. So 20 times 6, that's 120 hours on average per year. Now this number is a lot higher. It's about 190 hours for most people in the program. But this is just makes a lot of sense when you multiply 6 times 20. And that's 120. Most people talk a lot more than 6 dates. And that's why this number is significantly higher. So this is what you get inside our program. Now we're going to compare this to what you have when you meet people on your own. On the hookup apps, the Grinders, the Scruffs, even Match.com, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, all those services out there that you use for free, or maybe there's a small fee that you pay for some other services, and this is what most people get in the red. So most people meet on average 10 people per year. Out of those 10 people, and again, you might be meeting 5 people a year, or maybe you are a little bit older and you don't meet anybody, and time passes by and you have 1 or 2 people per year only. So on average, we're going to use the number 10 for easy calculations, 10 people per year. Out of that, we have a very small number, that's 2 people are experiencing second dates. So out of the 10 people, only 2 are part of the second date, and only 1 the 6th date. And then we multiply that together, so 10, 11, you can say 12 hours of interaction. So 10 hours, if each date is, say, half hour to 45 minutes, we can have this rough estimate, which is about 12 hours of interactions per year of in-person or over the phone interaction. So this is not about texting, this is not about how much time you spend on hookup apps, because that's a lot higher. This is the real interactions with a real person over the phone or in person. Now, notice most people are scared to talk over the phone these days. So these numbers, when you are interacting on your own, are very low. And why is this so important? Okay, so you might be asking, what's the big deal here? The big deal here is that most of us today have insecure or ambivalent attachment style. So if you're interacting with people on the hookup apps, Grindr, Scruff, Growler, all those platforms, most people are afraid to call you. They don't want to share a phone number. They don't want to call you on the same day when you are talking to them. Why is it happening? Because they have ambivalent or insecure attachment style. You see, the way that I interact with people, when I want to meet someone, I talk to them, and on the same day, I want to call them. I don't want to wait, but most people today have insecure or ambivalent attachment style. And that's why everything is slower. That's why it's difficult to get a hold of them. That's why they don't want to share phone numbers. That's why they don't want to talk. They're scared. They're scared. Can you imagine? They want relationships, but at the same time, they are scared. That's pretty crazy. And so if you have 12 hours per year of interactions, that's not enough interactions to get practice, to become confident, to break through the insecurities and the ambivalence that has to do with the attachment style. I suspect you watching this video, you have an insecure or ambivalent attachment style, because most people today, or ever since the hookup apps took over the whole world, everybody today has at least an insecure attachment style. You may not be ambivalent, but insecure attachment style. You are afraid of rejection. You are afraid of judgment. You're afraid of evaluation based on sexual preferences and then rejection based on that. Most people have that, and they get triggered all the time when they see signs of a rejection, of possibility of rejection, and everything breaks down. So this math shows you that if you meet only 10 people per year, if you only have 2 dates that are second dates and only 1 6th date, it means that you are not connecting. So the 6th date, this means that you're not really connecting with anybody. You need this number to be high. The 6th date is the most important number next to the hours of interactions. If you don't have 6 dates, you're not connecting. You're being ghosted. There's abandonment. There's rejection. There is something that causes you not to actually go and make progress with the people that you're meeting. So compare this with Big Family Social Program. 24 people you met across the span of 1 year, vast majority of them you have 6 dates. And you have 120 hours of interactions per year. Is 120 hours of interactions in person and over the phone, is that enough to get practice, to get the confidence? Yes. To dissolve all the insecurities and the ambivalence and the insecure attachment style? Yes, that is enough. 12 hours is not enough. So inside Big Family, you get 10 times more of the time, the hours that you have an opportunity to practice communication, practice the skill of connecting with somebody. A lot of times, people stay in the space of victimization, persecution, or rescuing. So this is the dreaded drama triangle, the DDT, a famous framework that is connected to the transactional analysis concept from psychology. Most people look at dating and relationships from the perspective of either victim, persecutor, or a rescuer. And so that's why we have to have a lot of practice to step out of the victimization, step outside of the persecution of each other, which is blaming each other. That's what it is. Or trying to rescue other people. And you also need to have a container, a social container, where those dynamics are not taking place. And so inside Big A Family Social Program, we don't have this dynamic playing out of the victimization, persecution, or rescuing. Instead, we have creation. We have coaching. We have participation. These are the roles. The leader, he's the creator. We've got the participant, he's the helper, and we've got the guardian, and the guardian is the coach. And so this dynamic is the healthy dynamic. We don't have the dreaded drama triangle dynamic that you have when you meet people on your own through the hookup apps and waste tremendous amount of time. And years are passing by and you are not healing your attachment style, you're not progressing, you're not connecting. And do this math on your own. So do this table, come up with how many men you meet in a year, come up with how many second dates you have, how many sixth dates you have, how many hours of interactions you spend, and ask yourself, and be honest with yourself, if this is less than 20 hours, how on earth are you ever going to connect with people? And by the way, sex is not practice of communication. Hookup apps and spending all the hundreds of hours looking to hook up, that's not healthy practice. That's not connecting. That's not making progress. So this column here, the sixth date, is the way that we can predict your future. If you have only one person here over the past year with whom you had 6 dates, it's unlikely you will ever succeed. You'll be alone forever. I'm sorry that I'm so direct, but you'll be alone forever. You need to have this at least 10 people a year, at least 10. And that's not even enough. So inside Big A Family, you have 20 people a year where you can practice, you become comfortable with the stages of connection, the commitment stage, the trust stage, the familiarity stage, the connect. These are stages of psychological moments that have to happen before you say, hey, I would like for you to be my boyfriend, or I love you, I want to be with you, can we move in together? I want you to be my future husband. There are stages. These are moments that are very important that happen as time passes by. That's why the sixth date is so important, because this means that as time passes by, this person is still in your life. If people are vanishing, if they are ghosting and disappearing, you don't have enough substance. There's not enough glue. There's not enough clay, you can say, clay. There's not enough building blocks to create a healthy relationship. And again, most people have insecure or they have ambivalent attachment style, and they stay in the space of their dreaded drama triangle, victimization, persecution, or blaming, or rescuing. And these are not healthy dynamics. And that's why these numbers here in red, they reveal the mathematical certainty that with these numbers on such a low level, it's impossible for people to succeed with relationships. You can meet 100 people on the hookup apps, but have 0 6 dates. And that should kind of blow your mind. You can meet 1,000 people and you still will have 0 6 dates because everything will be sex related. And in fact, people run into, if you were to do the math, how many people you run into on the hookup apps? Probably 100 people a year, at least 100. How many 6 dates? 0. So we need to turn this thing around. This number has to be really high. The 6 dates number, this has to be 10 people to 20 people. And the bad news is that, I'm sorry to say this, it's unlikely you're going to be able to make this number that high on your own. The world has drastically changed. I'll give you a perfect example. I've lived in Miami for a long time, and I now live in Colorado Springs. I moved to Denver, then Colorado Springs. And there's an app called Telegram, and I subscribe to Telegram, to that app, and I get notifications from the people in Miami that join. And I try to reach out to them, hey, let's get reconnected. and they're completely ambivalent. They're completely ambivalent. Say, okay, Paul, nice to see you. But then I say, hey, let's catch up. And they're completely silent. People I've known for many years when I lived in Florida, they're completely silent. They're completely ambivalent. So most people today, outside of a specific social container like Big A family, they're ambivalent. They're insecure. They, even though they've heard about you, they've known you, they, for whatever reason, they're scared of reconnecting. And I see this example after example from different sources, from different places where I want to reach out to people, but they don't respond anymore. And I'm always curious because I have a healthy attachment style. I am towards people kind of person, and I want to get to know everybody all the time and new people all the time. And I'm very successful with friendships because of my disposition that it's towards people. Some people have this away from people disposition. I have the towards people disposition. I want all of you. I want you all to move in with me now. I don't want you next week. I want you now. So it's a healthy disposition. I'm not scared of people. But today, people are scared of each other like crazy. And that's why the world has changed. You would assume that you take this image that you had in the 80s and in the 90s, and you think that, well, I just need to meet the right person. You can meet amazing people, but they will have this insecure or ambivalent attachment style because of the conditioning of the gay culture. No matter how much you try, you will not get a 6th date with them. It's impossible today. It's all sociology, it's all psychology. The world has radically changed. You need the right container, you need the right people that are willing to commit, and you need the dating process for these numbers to go up. So the bad news in this video is that if this number is low, you'll be single forever. I don't care how big your dick is. I don't care how amazing person you are. If this number is low, you do not stand a chance. Nobody stands a chance. That's how complex relationships are. You will need to have this at least 100 hours of practice a year to become confident and competent with relationships, with communication, with breaking through the dreaded drama triangle, breaking through the victimization, breaking through the insecurities and the ambivalence and the trivialization of relationships. Most people trivialize relationships. Most people have this sense of entitlement. They just think one day it will happen. Do the math, and these 2 columns will tell you the future. And for most of you, you're going to have very low number here and incredibly low number here, and these 2 will predict your future. So if you want to succeed, you will have to become part of a social space that is like a bunker with principles, like the continuity principle, with roles like inside Big A family, we've got the leader, the participant, we've got the guardian. You need to have infrastructure like the commitment-based dating system. And then these numbers will go up. And that is, my friends, how you will succeed. And that's how inside the Big A family social program, people are falling in love all the time. They have extraordinary friendships and relationships, and they stay with us for years because these numbers are through the roof inside the Big A family. It's a commitment-based social program that invites men that are able to commit. And that's what makes this so unique, because most of the guys that you're hanging out with, most of the guys that you are trying to hang out with, I should say, they are not able to commit. They just go back to Grindr, and with the least amount of effort, they are just texting to one another, sending messages about, hey, what's up? Send me your naked picture. And that's their extent of communication and practice. And they have forgotten how to communicate. They don't know how high they have to step up in their communication skill to be able to create their 6 dates. They don't have that information anymore. They don't have that practice anymore. And so you spend a lot of time with the non-committal people, with the non-committal guys, and you are wondering why it's not working. Well, that's why it's not working. You don't have any 6 dates with them, and you have very limited practice. So you, on a psychological level, you are becoming like them. Everyone on the hookup apps is depriving themselves from the learning, from the practice and the development of confidence about dating and relating. And so it's unlikely that they will ever have normal relationships for the rest of their lives. Not just in the near future, but for the remainder of their lives. That's how complex relationships are. Relationships are the most complex projects you will ever undertake. More complex than buying a house, more complex than starting a business. There's so many pieces and parts that are like a puzzle in relationships. That's why there are thousands, millions of books written about relationships. Why are so many books about the psychology of relationships? Because it's so infinitely complex. If you have a low number of hours of practice, you don't stand a chance. If you don't have any 6 dates, you don't stand a chance. And look at our program. These numbers are through the roof. And so that's why I'm so confident that when you join the Big Gay Family Social Program, you are definitely going to succeed. If you have healthy personality, if you don't have a lot of damage, if you are not narcissistic, it will be very difficult for you to fail. Even if you have an insecure or ambivalent attachment style, this amount of practice and this amount of 6 dates are going to help you fix it and address it so that you are comfortable in becoming closer and closer and closer to other people, so that eventually you become like me, which is you want people to enter your life all the time without any hesitation, without any self-doubt, without any insecurities. You become a person that has this towards people dimension, towards people kind of mental model, towards people kind of instinctive reaction. You always say to yourself, yes, come on over. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's be friends. Yes, let's see how far we can take this. And that means you are ready for love that will last a lifetime. And the kind of practice, the kind of tools that you have inside Big Gay Family are going to empower you to become a leader in your personal life. So without Big Gay Family Social Program, these are the likely numbers you're going to experience. Impossible to succeed. If this number is low and this number is low, you'll be single forever. When you join Big Gay Family, these numbers are going to go up significantly and you are very likely to succeed. It's going to be very difficult for you to fail. And these numbers speak for themselves. So join us, visit the website biggayfamily.com and begin your transformation. I hope that this video has been an awakening to help you see that when we reduce everything to math, we quantify how many people you meet a year, how many 2nd and 6th dates you have, how many hours of practice you have with them. That's how you can predict the future. And I hope that now you can see that on your own, it's going to be almost impossible. I'm willing actually to say 100% impossible. That's how crazy this world today has become. Literally crazy. And just as a side note, nobody out of the Big Gay Family Social Program was ever able to outperform our commitment-based dating process. Not one person. Nobody has ever been able to make more friendships or relationships outside of the program than they have in our program. And so that should tell you that we have something special here that is very powerful and very productive. Okay, my friends, join us, visit the website biggayfamily.com, begin your transformation and forever say goodbye to all the frustrations, rejections, abandonment, and all the headaches that you are experiencing right now with the way that you meet people outside of the protective social container like Big Gay Family. Okay, my friends, if you are not part of this channel, please subscribe so that we learn together. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Okay, my friends, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.